have the world on the right lane and the fronts on the left lane hook a pile. So now it's like just trying to throw it over it without throwing it out the window. Made it to minors, survived last night, as is the goal, I think it's every time. Here's the goal today, just throw it good. I am thinking so little about how to play it right, how to think about lane panels and how to get the ball to the pins the right way. Today is all about everything up to the foul line, and then letting whatever happens beyond that happen and adjusting beyond that. I just need to throw good. After giving away 15 frames yesterday, I'm not mad. I ended up throwing it well, which kind of helped calm me down quite a bit. It was very frustrating to start. I don't want to start that way. So the plan is stay right, move left. That's the whole plan. Throw the ball that looks best and move on past that. So we get to, there's only 4 on a pair this year too, so hopefully transition isn't too terrible. We're on 23 and 24. Which I looked at the topography map. It looks like 23 is going to hook more, but it's a left lane and South Point. It seems like they're all kind of that way, so I'm just going to keep it nice and simple today. So let's just go throw some strikes. This guy just shot 278, so that's cool. So there's a bar on Fremont Street where there are some specific type of seats at this bar. And when you see the video, see that part of this video later, you will understand when I say I am sitting on one of those seats right now, that that's absolutely what's happening. Because I just got Century Clubbed by my partner, and you know what, sometimes that's gotta happen. So gem to start. Nick's thrown the gem all 12 shots. I am gonna try to go to the UC3 after game number 1 here, just see if I can still play right. And then if the UC3 doesn't work, probably try the Helios. Actually, I like that. Maybe I'm gonna try that I'm gonna try the Helios on the first ball and see if that works. So we're plus 50 after 1. I'm minus 50 something for 1800, but we'll get there. Just not my best game. I threw it out the window on a 3, 4, 6, 7, but I made all my makeables. It was just the one, and I opened a washout too, but overall, not a bad first game. I'll take 270 out of the partner though, that's pretty sweet. Game 2. What happened game 2? I threw the Helios game 2.
Game 2, we were fucking terrible.
Yeah, we suck. So if I threw it on the right board, it struck every time. If I missed it 1 left, it split. If I missed it 4 left, it would hang and strike. So that was cool. I choked off another 9th frame, so I'm pretty sure I've done that 4 times in 5 games. But who's counting? Switching to the wine this game. We have enough of a track built in, and I love that ball when there's friction right, so I'm just gonna use it. So let's go shoot a big one. Too many 2-ball frames. Did not well for Nick. He spared every frame until the 10th when he chopped 3610. So we shot 1230-ish. I don't remember. I did not miss on the right lane. I have the world on the right lane and the fronts on the left lane hook a pile. So now it's like just trying to throw it over it without throwing it out the window. It's very balanced. So before I get into analyzing what I did wrong, what worked, all that sort of stuff, I do want everybody to know that I understand that Nationals is meant to be one of the hardest things that we bowl on every single year. And as much as there are things that I wish could be different. All of it really does fall on me. It's about improving. It's about getting better. So even though there are things that really do frustrate me that I'm going to kind of go through here, it's not because I'm trying to blame anybody besides myself. When the heads blow up, everything else falls apart. That is the ultimate flaw in my bowling game. Every single year, except for Syracuse, that I have bowled nationals, and this is my 5th year. My first year was the last time it was in Reno. The heads have blown up. And as soon as that happens, my ball motion completely goes away. For team, it wasn't so much that I couldn't move left and get around it, because I just couldn't necessarily get it to carry once I got too far left. My angles got a little bit too steep. However, because the heads blew up, my spare ball hooked at my toes on the left lane during team, and I chopped off 2 3-pins off of a 3-6 combination. That was game 2 of team. It took me from shooting 230 to shooting 199. During minors, it was the same exact story. And it's been the same story at South Point every single year. When I get to bowling in singles, I have to just throw it as high as I can, hoping that I clear the fronts. And then most of the time, my ball motion beyond that's actually pretty good. I threw my hustle line all 3 games of singles. I tried the Zen in there a little bit, but it was just too much ball because I couldn't move far enough left. If I moved too far left, I ended up just ending up in a flood that nobody really played in, and there was no friction to be had, and everything just kind of wiggled past the spot. So I had to stay right with the hustle line and throw it basically almost to the arrows by the time we were done. And if I did that well, it struck, especially on the right lane, basically every single time. I stone 9 a couple times, wrap 10 a couple times, all that sort of stuff, whatever, that's bowling. But to have only shot 3 games over 200 in the 9, to only have closed 3 9th frames out of 9 games, and even though almost shooting 3,000, having shot 1,200 in doubles, having shot 600 at singles, and almost shooting 1,800 in all events, it's still like one of the most disappointing years I've ever had at nationals. But you guys wanted to know what worked and what didn't. So during minors, what I think is going to work the best for everybody, and this has kind of been the same story here for the last couple of years, I'm guessing that it's not going to change once we get to go bowl in Reno next year, is basically to throw as big of a ball, as in core and as in cover, as long as you can throw it relatively straight. When we first started, Nick and I were both throwing a gem, and it looked pretty good. We just weren't really able to open up enough motion down lane to get it to continue to want to carry. I had to switch to something symmetrical because it wasn't quite as strong of a cover. It was a little bit squirrely down lane. If I missed it left, it was kind of in the face. If I missed it right, it was out the window. If I really missed it left, for some reason it hung, and that probably just meant I was in the wrong area. However, we tried to play him, tried to make some sort of a bank zone, and it just never really developed all that well. And really what it turned into was just a pair that didn't carry. It's not that we didn't hit the pocket a lot. It's not that we didn't necessarily know how to get there, but Nick didn't strike all of game 3 of doubles after shooting 278 the first game, which just kind of illustrates that when you're out there and you're on the invisible playing surface, sometimes shit just doesn't go your way. As much as it is nice that you don't move pairs, the other side of that is when you go out and bowl tournaments in your area and all that sort of stuff, and you're moving pairs every game, you kind of get accustomed to it. Kind of get accustomed to, like, man, if I catch a bad pair, it's not a big deal. I can move on and I can bowl another game. I can bowl another 4 games on 4 different pairs, and maybe they'll be better. Maybe they'll be different. Maybe I'll be able to find something that'll help me carry a little bit better. And when you're stuck on the same pair and kind of just fighting what it is that you're doing, that's when I personally get pretty frustrated. And the other thing is just that inevitability of having to loft the ball. Every tournament that I bowl, it's all about my ball hooks at my toes, and then it doesn't do anything down lane. It completely uses up all of its energy before it even gets into the mid lane. There's not a lot I can do with that besides throw it over it. But that's really the only tip that I can give you. And that sounds dumb, but it's really just about get your ball through the front and use as much ball as you can as long as you can. I would even say the big move left is probably not a great idea unless you start further left. If you start around 10, we started around 5, maybe it's there, but I doubt it. So one of the things that Nick Hoagland is kind of notorious for is putting speed bumps in the middle of patterns. But basically what happens is when he has these big strips of oil in the mid lane, it creates this illusion that your ball's getting through something, even though the heads are cooked. It creates this illusion of push. And sometimes if you get it just right, it'll hook. Sometimes if you catch it just right, it'll come off the spot down lane, because it does actually store a little bit of energy. Maybe it's not necessarily just an illusion, but it makes your eye, it tricks your eyes with these big strips that are in the middle of the lane like that. I bowl on them almost never. And when I see that sort of stuff, because of the fact that bowling is so visually based, it's so like your eyes are telling you what your feel needs to be, when it's basically holding an ace under the table and saying, ha ha ha, I'm gonna beat you. It's like, that's when that part's frustrating to me. And I'm assuming that that's what this pattern is, and maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm just hunting for an excuse. But when it's the one time of year that you see it and you think that your ball is going to do something different and it doesn't, because it's the only time that you ever see it, that to me is just like, I get it, it's the challenge, I get it, you should be able to adjust and make your way through it, but fuck me, it's annoying. So if you want to take the advice from a guy who shot 1736, that's the best I can give you. In team, just throw the ball well. I think lower differential options are probably going to suit you a little bit better. And then for minors, the bigger the ball, the better. I'd say from a core perspective, I probably should have actually brought my Nova instead of my Gem, because that ball's got a little bit more core in it. But all of that advice is coming from somebody who struggled for 9 games. And my best piece of advice, though, is to be a part of the group of people that goes out to Vegas to have fun. And you happen to bowl 9 games, and they are what they are. And once I finally caught that attitude after being so frustrated through singles, it was a pretty good trip. After that, we got to do some pretty cool stuff as well, which is going to be in the next couple videos. So be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Like this video, share it with your friends. Go out to Vegas, go have fun, go throw the ball well, and you know what? If you don't, go to Fremont Street and ride the saddle. But more than anything, just don't forget, your best life is the 10th life. See ya.